All right, time for us to say good afternoon to Dr. Joe Schwarcz. He is host of the Dr. Joe Show here on CJAD, Sundays at 3 p.m., and director of the McGill Office for Science and Society. So, Joe, I want to get to a couple of these stories. Number one, I'm kind of...
Hang on a sec, Aaron. Hang on, because last time we were chatting, you asked me to look at something.
Oh, yes.
And that was the drink you were drinking,
That's right. Yeah, the Olipop. I found the ingredients in it.
Right, the Olipop. So, yeah, I've looked into it.
Okay.
I didn't go as far as drinking it, but I did look into it,
Okay.
and it certainly has a lot less sugar than Pepsi or Coke, and it's also got some fiber in it. So if you gotta drink some sort of beverage, Olipop looks pretty good.
Excellent.
Because of the fiber content and the relatively low sugar content.
Yeah.
It is sweetened with stevia, which is okay.
You like that one?
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Joe, it's also sweetened with cassava root syrup.
Well, the cassava actually is to give it thickness.
Okay.
Because otherwise it would feel very, very thin. And it's also that has a fiber component as well. But, as long as you have only 5 grams of sugar in there, that's pretty good because,
Okay.
A regular soft drink has about 40 grams.
See? Okay.
Which is the daily allotment. So.
Thank you for making my day. And you forgot to say as long as you drink it in moderation, I guess. So
Okay.
So let me talk about the other drink that's on the list today, which is coffee. And I started by saying there were 2 very different studies out this week. I find this fascinating. We're still discussing coffee, good, bad, and different. So the good news in the first one, it found habitual coffee consumption showed very low association with sleep quality or daytime sleepiness. But the second study showed caffeine causes prolonged sleep latency, meaning it takes longer to fall asleep, shorter total sleep time, and shorter deep sleep time. Help me out. What are we supposed to do here?
Yeah, it just goes to show you that different people look at the same thing, arrive at different conclusions because it is so difficult to do these kind of studies. Where you rely on people reporting exactly what they have consumed and when they have consumed it, and that kind of thing is pretty unreliable. But I looked at the study, not only at the reports of the study, but I read the actual study itself. And I think they make a pretty good case for not consuming any caffeinated beverage in under 8 hours between the time that you're going to go to sleep. So let's say if you normally go to sleep at 11, I think the 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock is the last time that you should be drinking coffee.
Joe, in this study, they said if you go to sleep at 11, your last coffee should be at 2 p.m.
Yeah, but the other study had somewhat shorter time.
So we'll
anyway,
split it. Okay.
they agree on that it should be much longer than we used to think. Because the usual advice used to be that don't have coffee with your supper. Right. Because but now it seems that at least according to this study that time frame is somewhat longer. But, the amount of time that they look at in terms of reducing your sleep is about 30 minutes. I'm not sure just how significant that is and, how reliable a measurement that is. So I think I just stick to my usual regimen of having 1 good cup of coffee in the morning. And that's it. And that's all I require. But I do require that.
Okay, because I can put my second one down now. It's cold anyway. All right, let's move on from that to alcohol. There's another study out in this, and again, kind of conflicting as well.
These studies about the common beverages seem to come every week. And this is a controversial one because, of course, it is not one that the industry is going to favor. Because what this study shows is that there's a significant risk even with drinking 1 drink a day. And, the usual recommendation has been 2 a day for men and 1 a day for women. And that's what the alcohol industry also promotes. But this study now shows that there is indeed a shortening of your life expectancy even with 1 alcoholic beverage a day. And that, of course, is going to rub the industry the wrong way. And the first thing that they do, of course, is circle the wagons and attack the study. Well, I did look at the study, And again, the problem, as with the coffee study, is that it is based on asking people exactly what it is that they do and when they consume. And numerous studies have shown that that is just unreliable. People are much more likely to say what they think they should be saying than what is actually happening. But the other confusing thing about it is that people who do not drink alcohol very likely are to have other lifestyle habits that are beneficial. Or they may have given up the alcohol because they are already concerned about some sort of health problem. So when you look at these associations that show that people who do not drink any alcohol are better off, it may not be because of the alcohol. It may be because of other lifestyle factors or because they have switched to not drinking because they're already concerned about something.
Okay.
On the other hand, I've also, over the last 4 decades, I've been scrutinizing literature about red wine and alcohol because of, the story that goes around that red wine and red grapes contain this compound called resveratrol, which is a potent antioxidant and supposedly explains why people in France have a lower risk of heart disease than people in North America. And the argument has been that they drink about 30 times as much red wine as we do, and that the resveratrol in there is protective. And of course, the industry loves that particular study. But I think that doesn't hold water, or we should say doesn't hold wine, because the amount of resveratrol, which indeed is an antioxidant and has been shown to have some benefit in laboratory studies in rodents and in cell cultures, the amount that is actually found in wine is below any kind of clinical relevance. When you take a look at the studies on mice, where the so-called red wine effect has shown something, it is the equivalent of 100 bottles of red wine consumed in a single day. So, there may be something eventually to resveratrol, which is extracted from wine and sold in capsule form, although we need a lot more evidence for that. But to suggest that red wine is this spectacular beverage because it prevents cardiovascular disease in mice is certainly not scientifically sound. So I would say, if you have mice, don't worry about them drinking wine, but I wouldn't recommend, I wouldn't put too much emphasis for humans.
I'd pay to see the mice drink that much wine. I think that'd be quite interesting. This is also, by the way, very much against the whole, under Robert F. Kennedy, right? The situation with the U.S. government, right? They're about how much wine you could drink, shouldn't drink, right? They suggest, no, it's okay.
Well, yeah, when they came out with their new dietary recommendations, the only thing they said is that it's better to drink less alcohol than more. What is that? That's a meaningless statement, right? Because what is less for one person is not less for someone else. I mean, in my view, having kept up on this literature for a long time, is that I rarely drink it. I don't think that there's any benefit. I don't get that much pleasure out of it. I mean, I certainly don't mind a glass of red wine with a good meal. I don't think that it's poison. But I would not favor recommending one drink a day.
Well, that's the whole idea, right? The everything in moderation seemed to imply that one a day, there's your moderation. Now we're finding out perhaps if you do that every day, it's not so moderate.
I think you need moderation in accepting the scientific information,
Fair enough. All right, Joe, we'll leave it at that. Enjoy your cup of coffee.
Okay, maybe I'll even try the Olipop.
Yeah, give it a whirl. Let me know what you think, but you have to try. Only drink one of them, and it's grape, the original grape flavored. And let me know what you think next week, okay?
I'll give it a shot.
All right, Dr. Joe Schwarcz, and yes, you can catch him here on CJAD on Sundays at 3 p.m.
Unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Bryan Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
Or the free iHeartRadio app.